Today I'm going to be doing a quick little video on septums and septum stretching and stuff like that, just because there's been a bunch of videos on the channel so far on septum stretching, and I just guess I want to talk about it. So I do have my septum stretched. It is permanently at a 0 gauge. Through what's called the denting process. I got it to be permanently at that size. So I will show you really quick. So yeah, my septum at its largest size was at 7/16. So I guess I'm just going to talk about my history with septum stretching, and then just get in, and my septum piercing in general, and then just get into the whole stretching process. So I first got my septum pierced when I was about 13 or 14, so that around there, and I got it pierced at a 14 gauge, and it was pierced extremely crooked. I have a deviated septum, so I don't really blame the piercer for messing up, because my nose is kind of difficult. What a deviated septum means is that the frenum of the septum, which is what's pierced, leans crooked, so you can see the actual septum if you do that. It's usually one side predominant. Mine is this way. So, he pierced it crooked. He pierced it, like, exiting out of this, like, plate right here. Like, it was pierced right through there. But he did pierce it through the webbing on that side. Sorry, my cat is eating paper. And, yeah, it was pierced out of 16 gauge, I remember. And I stretched it to a 14. Sorry, I messed that up. So, the first time I ever stretched it, I just used a, circular barbell. The healing process the first time was so much worse than the second time when I got done properly. The first time I got it done, it was crusting up a lot in this area because it was pierced through a lot of tissue. And then the second time I got it done, I was in the 9th grade, and I did it at a 6 gauge. I did it myself. I was just terrified of anybody touching that area, because I didn't want that area to ever be messed up again, because, like, I thought I was relating it to the pain I went through the first time, not relating it to the idea that it was crooked the first time. So I pierced it myself, and it was not that bad, because I actually got it through the frenum of the septum, which is the webbing. What's actually pierced, a lot of people think it's pierced through the hard cartilage right here, but what's actually pierced is the webbing between that and this plate. So it did start me off in the denting process very quickly, because I was pierced at a rather large size. So what the denting process basically is after a while you start losing a lot of the frenum tissue that's inside of the septum that was pierced, and then you start hitting basically the hard cartilage. And what you're going to want to do is start stretching through that, and then actually deforming it to make it cave in, basically, and allow you to wear bigger sizes. Like, you can see how mine is curved, basically, and yeah, that's from denting it. Denting is a very painful process. It usually starts around a 4 gauge, and what's best to do is not to rush during the denting process, especially because you are basically pushing the hardest, most sensitive cartilage in your face, like, upward. So that's very dangerous, for one. 2, it's not good for the structure of your nose, and there's a lot of complications that can come from that. And just, it's not a good idea. That's also why I recommend not using pinchers at larger sizes. I recommend using long tapers, just because the septum is just so sensitive that the idea of just having blunt trauma done to that area is ridiculous in my opinion. So really small tapers are a no-go. Or pinchers, really small pinchers. I've seen pinchers that are like extremely long, and I bet those would work, but like, I don't know. I just prefer tapers. So, with the stretching process, I would just recommend you using jojoba oil because it is very lubricating. I wouldn't recommend bio oil because it is a very dry consistency, and for some reason in frenum areas, it leaves a very greasy type of texture that is not very pleasant when stretching your septum. You'll get much better results from jojoba oil. Um, the septum is an area, if pierced correctly, will heal relatively quick. If it's pierced straight through the frenum, it will basically heal as quick as any other frenum type piercing. Um, uh, it should take at least about a month to heal. It's a piercing that can be hid relatively easy, and all you do is just need to flip it up into your nose, or even buy eyelets. Like, I used to wear these in my septum, that, and just take off the O-rings and have a single flare just going in like that. So you can always do that, and it also is good for hiding it. You can buy these eyelets in like every size. I have 14 gauge eyelets. So that's pretty much it. So I hope that was informative. Love you guys. Bye.